He makes her bid for a little piece of history.
Hello and welcome to The Run of the Race. I'm Brittany Taylor and I'm joined by Mark Warwood. Mark, welcome.
Thank you, Britt.
It's great to be back for our second episode. Some great feedback during the week from a few people who had watched the show. A few people still are a little bit confused by all the numbers, and that's totally fine. We know it can be a little bit hard to understand at first, but Mark, basically, the positive and negative numbers, that's where it can get a little bit confusing. Explain to us what they mean.
Well, a good analogy would be that of golf. Obviously, a negative number in golf, under par, is a good performance, you know, Tiger Woods and the like. And an over par score is what I do when I go around, which is once every 5 years. So positive is bad, negative is good, or under is good, and over is bad.
So basically, if you think of the benchmark and we're saying they performed 2 lengths under the benchmark, well, that means they're going quicker. So that's the best way we can explain the figures. Let's jump in and look at race number 1, where we'll be able to see those numbers in action and hopefully make a little bit of sense of it. The first race was won by Showcase.
Eases back off heels. Jing Tang led narrowly at the 600, about ahead to the good of Night Void. Showcased the rail. Misty Metals going up off heels there, 3 deep, followed by How to Fly. And finally around their heels, Pretentious Chant coming around the corner at the 350. Jing Tang led narrowly from Night Void, and now Witten makes her move with Misty Metal. Showcase searches for the inside run. Back behind them, How to Fly. Think the favourite could be in some bother getting through at the moment. Pretentious Chant runs on. Showcase, Misty Metal. Misty Metal, Showcase down near the rail. Jing Tang, Pretentious Chant. He lifts Showcase Pike, and Showcase first up a little.
Only a small field there for the opener. Who are you forgiving?
I'm forgiving Misty Metal. She was wide. She didn't start all that well. Ended up in a spot that I think most mappers didn't think she'd be in. She was first up in what was probably her toughest assignment. So I'm forgiving Misty Metal. I'm forgetting How to Fly. I thought it was one of the better bets on the card. Had tempo to suit. I know it got crossed and probably didn't allow it to stride out as well as it would have liked to, but the tempo should have suited, and so 5th in that race, pouring a pen through How to Fly. The follow horse, I think it has to be Showcase. Really excellent acceleration to win the race. It looks like it's going to go to the fillies and mares races. I think the 1200 metres will suit. I don't want to see her over, say, 16 or 1800 like last campaign. All
right, Showcase, and I think Bob Peters did say that he'd be keeping her to the sprint trips this time, and even looking at her, she does look more like a sprinter than a stayer. I tell you who I want to forget, Pretentious Chant, until he learns some manners. That horse just gave Peter Hall a nightmare of a ride. They put the blinkers on, so I'll be very interested to see what they do with the gear next start, because this horse looks like he has the ability to win one, but just does so much wrong. All right, race number 2, a horse that doesn't do things wrong and is getting closer to a picket fence, Salon du Cheval.
Middle distance test, Zan Darrell dropping out near the rail and pushed to pass, about to join it, nearing the home corner. By the 500 they come, and 5 degrees again goes up to test Noir de Roux. A length away behind them, Salon de Cheval, now being asked the question by Stake coming into the home corner. They beat off Django. Dark Prospect runs on. Further back is pushed to pass, 5 degrees the leader. Here comes Salon de Cheval at the 200. It's Salon de Cheval and 5 degrees who will fight. 5 degrees kicks in hard from Salon de Cheval. A length and a half to Dark Prospect. Salon de Cheval again got his head in front. He'll be just a touch too good, Salon de Cheval.
Salon du Cheval, just a touch too good indeed, but I thought 5 degrees was pretty gallant in defeat.
Yeah, I think she's the forgive horse in this race. She over-raced, probably a little bit too close to the leader. They did go a reasonable tempo here, around 2 lengths faster than the benchmark, and she toughed it out like she did 7 days prior to that when winning. So forgive 5 degrees. I think the forget horse has to be Django, totally out of form, hasn't won for nearly 700 days now, slowest last 200 metres as well. Follow horse, well, he's Perth Cup bounded, it seems to be. Salon du Cheval, Lindsay Smith's a very good trainer, he's got a very good handle on his horses, yet to miss his top 2 in 7 starts now. Salon du Cheval, a horse to follow.
Certainly a horse to follow there, Salon du Cheval. Race 3, well, this was an exciting race. I like this horse a lot. Arcadia Queen winning the 3rd.
Bills O'Reilly in between horses. Watch me, Nay Nay. He's starting to stoke up Platoon. No run, Arcadia Queen. She's back behind a wall of horses coming into the bend. Jaspara Skin and Tins outside of her. Well, coming into the home straight, recharges the leader. Snuck a length and a half to Kimbo's Girl and come on board, followed by Bills O'Reilly. He's still trying to get out with Arcadia Queen. He pokes her through a needle eye opening now, and here she comes with Platoon. Arcadia Queen races up, grabs the lead lead from Platoon. Watch Me Nene. Dominant victory here by the Piero filly. Arcadia Queen.
I thought Arcadia Queen was very impressive, the way she just took that gap. And you were impressed by her performance, Mark?
You had to be. I think the Forgive horse in this race, poor old Platoon, he just keeps running as a good horse. He's did it throughout his 2-year-old campaign. He's now doing it as a 3-year-old, but the form is rock solid, and I think he will be winning races. The Forget horse for mine, certainly now we've got the good horses back in work, his Recharger. Finished 7th on Saturday. Won a slow race 3 starts ago. I think probably needs easier grade and a slow tempo to win again. The follow horse simply has to be the winner. Arcadia Queen came home with 4.5 lengths faster than the benchmark over the last 600 metres, and simply to get out of the hole that William Pike was in, and he was in a big one, for people that backed him odds on, only the good ones do that.
They definitely do. Just the way she was able to extend when she finally saw a bit of daylight, very impressive. But Willie Pike has a big headache on his hands because he's going to have to decide who he rides, Arcadia Queen or Mystery Miss, who we'll speak about a little bit later, in the Burgess Queen on Melbourne Cup Day. Both of those horses set for that race then. Race number 4 was taken out by Double Digit.
3/4 Miracle Man, yet to be asked the question. Juicing Carrots though goes. He takes off 3 deep. Bookbar Jack again 4 wide. Back on the inside, Kia Aura Star, not again Ken trailing them. Double Digit back behind those horses coming into the bend from a bit sketchy. Rare Coin at the top of the home straight, and Petrosity headed by Bookbar Jack. Miracle Man kicks again in the middle from Juicing Carrots. Double Digit starting to wind up. Kia Aura Star found a run towards the rail at the 150. Double Digit on the outside, ranged up with Bookbar Jack. Kia Aura Star. It's Double Digit getting his head in front. Double Digit.
Double Digit saluting there for a pretty confident trainer in Ash Maley, who thought he gave the horse a pretty big chance. But Mark, it was a pretty slowly run race.
Yeah, very slowly run, around 9 or 10 lengths slower to the 600. I think this was the weakest race on the card. I'm not particularly keen on a Forgive, Forget and Follow from it, but I am going to nominate 3 horses. Forgiving Bookbar Jack was wide from a wide gate, did peak on his run over the last 200 metres. I think he probably can win sometime soon. I think the Forget horse for mine is Miracle Man. He was stone motherless first up, then won at Bunbury, and he came out on Saturday and was 4th. His best win was in that listed race last campaign. It was a very slowly run race. He got all the favours on the speed. I'm willing to bet around him next start. And the follow horse, because I have to pick one, he's Double Digit. He's just racing better than ever before, but the figures out of the race weren't particularly good, around 7.5 lengths slower than the benchmark.
All right, but maybe not the best form race to look at going forward, but had to pick a Forget, Forgive and Follow nonetheless, so Double Digit makes it into the follow file. We'll take a quick break and be back on the other side of this. Welcome back to the run of the race. It's time to get stuck into the quaddy legs of Saturday's meeting, where we have a look at all the races in review. And we look at race number 5. This was an exciting race. We had a tearaway leader in Beaucount, but at the end of the day, Mr. Albie got the chocolates at a good price.
That leader followed further back in the field to Tortina Arctic Stream, and American Joy is last of all. Beaucount led them, 500 to go. Can he keep it going? He's still with a big margin coming around the turn. It's all or nothing for Hill from here. Beaucount led the way at the top of the straight by 5. Mr. Elby, First Growth Honorific. Down the outside, here comes Sigil starting his run, but Beaucount's got a massive lead at the 204 in front. Mr. Elby, Sigil runs on from First Growth and Honorific. Beaucount shortening stride. Mr. Elby, First Growth cutting him down from Sigil. Mr. Elby reached the lead from Beaucount. Mr. Elby's got home. Mr. Elby beat First Growth.
Mr. Albie saluting there, but this was the race that I was most excited to see the figures of, because Beaucount was off and going. How quick did Beaucount go?
He went about 14 lengths faster than the benchmark to the 600. That's about 2.5 seconds. And speaking with Brad Graham on Tuesday night, I think he thought that the race was won and lost in the gates. Ryan Hill had to use the horse up a little bit to get him up and going, and it probably went a couple of lengths faster than what they wanted to go, and ultimately that was the difference between winning and losing. He's the Forgive horse here. I do think he'll be winning a race very shortly. The Forget horse is the hype horse, Arctic Stream from Bunbury. Fastest last 2 and 400 metres, but this horse has been beaten at short odds too many times for mine. I'm just a non-believer. The Follow horse, I think, is American Joy. Fastest last 8 to the 600, 4 to the 200, and was a little bit slow over the last 200 metres. I think Bob Peters, in speaking with Gareth Hall before the race, nailed it. The horse went from 1400 to 1800. He was concerned, thought that she probably needed a 1600 in between. I think you were right, Bob.
Bob does tend to know his horses pretty well, and it proves that yet again. The horse that I was pretty impressed with, First Growth, on the 3-day backup, was able to finish second. Certainly added that to its bag of tricks, because we know it can now perform off a quick backup. So First Growth on a quick backup, I certainly don't mind. Now the next horse, speaking of quick backups, was Giraffe. Was able to win last week and saluted again on Saturday.
They head by the 600 now. They've left the riverside of the track, and Great Again led the way. It's Great Again coming to the turn for Stone by a length. Nelson's Flight, Taxagano running forth and about to ease off around heels. Pinball Wizard away from the fence. Greco followed further back then by Giraffe. Salorski like a butterfly back there in the field, and so's Arcadia Prince. Pike now starts to weave his way through around heels there at the 200. Great Again led Nelson's Flight, Pinball Wizard, Giraffe and Arcadia Prince winding up, but Great Again's the horse to run down. His Giraffe. Giraffe quickly descends upon him, ranged up down the outside. Arcadia Prince, but it's another one for Giraffe. Giraffe is too good. Beat Arcadia.
This is an interesting one, because last week when we looked at Giraffe's performance, he was 0.4 lengths over the benchmark. How did this performance compare?
Well, it's nearly 7 lengths superior, so a PB performance from Giraffe. He's a horse going places, but that is a very big spike. Will he be able to back it up next start, or is that pretty much his ceiling? We'll have to see, but he is a promising galloper. He doesn't make the Forgive, Forget or Follow file. The Forgive horse for mine is Arcadia Prince, because he ran a really good rating and just got beat by a smart one in Giraffe. The Forget horse, well, we mentioned Arctic Stream in the previous race. I think you put Salorski in the same category. Hype horse that's just done nothing for quite some time now. I'm not sure where they go with Salorski. And the Follow horse, I think, has to be Like a Butterfly here. Was certainly looking for more ground first up on Saturday, and I think the fact that Giraffe and Arcadia Prince are pretty good horses, I think she's looking set for a really good campaign over staying trips.
All right, expecting some improvement from Like a Butterfly going forward this campaign. The next race was the Belgravia, and wow, what a race it was. Sparks flew early. Let's have a look at the concluding stages.
Towards the tail as well as Nawi. 500 left to run, and from the extreme outside, Valeroy was able to cross. Boy, did he do some work, Valeroy, but he led Market Ruler going up on the outside now, running third, Lady Cosmology. Double Bubbles hemmed away down near the inside. Special Reward fifth at the top of the straight, followed then by Flirtini running on the outside of Black Sabbath. It's Valeroy though that led them. 200 from home from Market Ruler. Down the outside, Lady Cosmology. Flirtini, Miller's got them queued up. Here comes Chicks Pick down the outside. Lady Cosmology, and now Mystery Miss from nowhere. She's gunning them down. Mystery Miss.
Pike getting there just in time with Mystery Miss, but Mark, what a Belgravia this was. They just went and flew out early. How fast did they go?
About 8 lengths faster than the benchmark. That pace was set by Valor Road with 60 kilos from barrier number 16. I think he'd been a little bit disappointing first up, but he showed that acceleration that he demonstrated when winning the Karakata, and I think he's the Forgive horse out of the race. Led what was a very fast tempo with a stack of weight, and if you take weight to measures into account and you take traditional handicapping, he's probably the run of the race. So he's the Forgive. The Forget horse for mine was my selection, Lord Help Me Run. I think he had probably the best map of all the chances in the race, and he was just very, very disappointing. I suppose you could say he might have been a little bit soft second up. I thought it was a very slowly run race first up, but if he wasn't, well, I'm afraid he's got to go. The Follow horse, and I think this horse won't get enough credit, Mystery Miss. She was sensational. I know she was out the back and she ran over the top of them off what was a hot speed, but she was going reasonable tempo out the back. She ran faster than benchmark to the 600. I think she's a horse going places, and she was going away from them.
It was just an extraordinary Belgravia. It's probably limiting to only limit to one selection in a follow file, because a horse like Lady Cosmology on that hot tempo still had the audacity to give a kick. Horse like Chicks Pick, I noticed Joey as a party got a little bit unbalanced, losing an iron, and who knows if that could have given a little bit of disadvantage there. So I mean, it was just a Belgravia that I think we'll see some very, very talented horses come out of going into the carnival. And we see Valor Road. Next start will be in the Winterbottom. So off that big performance from the wide gate with 60 kilos on its back, it has to be a player throughout the carnival as well. All right, the last race was taken out by yet another Cerise and White. They're fourth on the day. Last race won by Stage Man.
The Naconian striding up there, covering ground. Kiko makes a line of 3, so it continues to pour the pressure on. Black Line's a length and a half away, down on the inside from Stage Man, 4 scenes wider, followed in turn by Multiverse, In Love with Paris, looking to get around their heels, dropping out Stable Secret, well back Pablo's Palm and Regal Moon into the home straight now, 350 to run. Recoiled led the way, tackled by the Naconian. They've dropped off a Kiko, Black Line behind them. Here comes Stage Man, In Love with Paris with their runs, Regal Moon and Pablo's Palmer. Stage Man gets his head in front, nearing the 150. Stage Man from the Naconian, In Love with Paris, trying to run Stage Man down, but Stage Man prevails. It's another one for Pike, another one for the...
Stage Man winning the last there. Punters rejoice as Pike wins the last yet again. Nothing new there. What do the figures say out of this race, Mark?
Oh, look, I think the Forgive horse was Regal Moon. Was slow away, lost about 2 lengths at the start, over raced as well, and didn't really get a clear run in the straight until it was far too late. Really good sectionals home from Regal Moon. Will be winning again, I'm sure. The Forget horse for mine, and it's no knock on Multiverse. He has won 4 in a row, but I think he's gone up enough in the ratings now, and I think he's hit his rating ceiling, and I think he's going to have to wait to either come down or find a softer race. The Follow horse, I think, is probably Pablo's Poem. Still got a fair bit of time for this horse. They had to go back from the wide gate, finished 5th in the race, came home pretty well. Be interesting to see this horse over a journey, maybe 14 or 1600 metres with a softer run.
I completely agree, and just looking at Pablo's Poem, he seems like that free striding horse that will benefit from being out rolling in front. I don't think having to have him go back from that wide gate was too much to his advantage, so Pablo's Poem, when he's out and rolling, definitely one to follow. In the meeting overall, who gets the best figures?
Well, it's Giraffe. He dominated. He had the best overall rating of -6.4. And when you take the class benchmarks into account, he still came out on top with a -5.4 rating. So this horse, who absolutely blew them away on opening day, he got the job done again on Saturday. He can probably win again in 72 plus or 78 plus grade.
That surprises me, because even Chris Parnham has been a little bit reserved in his opinion of Giraffe. Neville's always said that this is a horse that will get through the grades, and the data's showing that he will, but Chris has always been a little bit unassuming about this horse and not been too bullish about his chances, but he just keeps stepping up every time he's served up to the new level. He just keeps matching it. What about the fastest last 600, 400 and 200 of the day?
Well, the 200 was Showcase, so continuing the theme from last week with the Cerise and White, 10.82 seconds. She gets a dead heat in the 400 race. That was 21.6 rather, with Pretentious Chant, who you've already mentioned. And then the last 600, well, it was Pretentious Chant on his own, 32.84. If he could just settle in a race and not find any trouble whatsoever, he'd be winning.
Well, when that day happens, I'll be waiting, because he just seems to be his own worst enemy, but clearly he can get home in good time. All of those figures are brought to you by Punting Form. You can see more on puntingform.com.au. Right now, we're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be back on the other side.
Think all betting companies hoard their profits? Not Tab Touch. Not only do we give you a better betting experience on your mic, but out here, a portion of every bet funds a better racing industry. Helps better your race club. Come on! Oh! And helps better local sport. Hey guys! So better your bet with Tab Touch. Don't let the game play you. Stay in control. Gamble responsibly.
Welcome back. It is that time of the show where we look at the winning tipster from the weekend that was. And this weekend, well, there are a few big price collects for some of the punters. So did our tipster manage to find Mr. Albie?
Certainly did. The best possible way home on Saturday in the tipping competition was tipping all 8 winners. It won't always be that way, but to all 8 winners: Showcase, Salon du Cheval, Arcadia Queen, Double Digit, Mr. Albie at $45.40. Thank you very much. Giraffe, Mystery Miss and Stage Man. And of course, you'd have had to have your big bet, your $50 each way on Mr. Albie. That would have got you a score of 3,557. The winner He had Mr. Albie, and he had it with his big bet. Didn't do too much else, but when you tip a $45 winner, you don't need to. So congratulations to Brendan Fines. He had the 2 winners, double digit was the other winner, and he had 6 minor placings. So well done, Brendan.
Congratulations to Brennan there. Let's take a look about where that stands him on the leaderboard, and that has catapulted him in front. 3,329 his score. The other ones off the bit and chasing. 1,742 is second place, but still many more weeks to go, so there's plenty of time to reel in the leader. And your next chance to do so is this weekend on what is Derby Day. And Mark, Victorian Derby Day, not our derby here, but we've really embraced it.
We certainly have. We've got the big Tipple event here, the first day of 2 days with Tipple, and of course Victoria Derby Day over at Flemington is arguably the best day of racing in the whole of Australia. All 9 races are group races, Group 1 or Group 2 or Group 3. Well, we've got a bit of group racing action here, 2 Group 3s as well, including the Asian Bow Stakes.
It certainly is good racing here as well. Let's have a look at the Asian Bow and the last 3 winners of this race.
Inside the 200, Hazabeel now goes on the outside to join Dawn Approach, but Real Love's got them both within her sights, and so's My Sister Lil. Real Love had hit the front from My Sister Lil though, and it's a great victory first up. Back with a vengeance, Real Love beat My Sister Lil and Hazabeel, and then Bass Strait probably 4th in front of Belmont Girl. On the fence, winking a nod at the 200. Great shot, the leader from Ideal Image and Showy Chloe. Heartstarter's picking up in the middle. It's great shot. Heartstarter's coming through. Heartstarter reaching. Great shot. Went to the line. Heartstarter's beaten Great Shot and flying was. From Royal Star Variation. He's coming out after the leader. Pernamoo down the outside. Further back, Cosmic Storm. Whispering Brook, here's Variation. Pernamoo, Variation and Pernamoo. Pernamoo on the outside. I think Pernamoo might have got it.
Some great editions of the Asian Bow there. We saw 2 Cerise and White gallopers winning in that highlights reel, and well, I think this weekend's field, highlighted by Galaxy Star, we might just be seeing that again.
It's an important race as well for the Carnival, and particularly the Tap Touch Masters. The winner of the Asian Bow becomes ballot exempt for both the Railway Stakes and the Kingston Town Classic. The horse that won last year's edition was Pernamoo, and without winning this race, he probably wouldn't have gone into those, including the Kingston Town.
Oh, a lot at stake for the runners this week in the Asian Bow. Also for the Prince of Wales, a lot at stake there as well.
Certainly is. That's ballot exempt as well for the Winterbottom Stakes. And looking at the horses and the potential interstate interest in the Winterbottom Stakes this year, I think the ballot exemption will mean something.
I think it'll be all important, this ballot exemption. Let's have a look at the past 3 winners of this race.
He forces now her to really dig down, and here comes Akadasset. This is the one the money has been on. Akadasset coming at Magnificio Dawn Approach. It's Magnificio lifting, but Akadasset's got her, and there is the biggest point over you've seen. Coming down the outside, so's Cool Passion. Vega Magic in bother down on the fence. Smoko at the 150 in front from Battle Hero. Here's Rock Magic though. It's Rock Magic on the outside reaching the lead, and he'll be too good for them. Rock Magic from a blanket go for the Miners. Smoko, Battle finishing brilliantly. Dainty Tess winds up as Dreamlifter hits the front. Dreamlifter profits straight down on the rail, and now here's Dainty. Dainty Tess and Volkov. Dainty Tess on the outside hit the front. It's Dainty's day.
Dainty Tess winning the most recent edition of the Prince of Wales. She'll be looking to defend her title come Saturday, and we saw in that package there Rock Magic winning. Well, Gangemis, well, they have a huge chance with 4 runners on Saturday.
I'm really looking forward to seeing Saracino go around. This horse they brought from the Eastern States, trialled the house down at Lark Hill, was I think it was about 40 to 1 to win the Winterbottom before the trial, into about 10 to 1 after that trial. But it's a cracking field here. You've got Agent Pippa down the bottom with 51.5 kilos. You've got Celebrity Dream, who was one of the follow horses from the first edition of this show. William Pike has elected to ride her instead of State Solicitor. I think you're right, William. And then you've got Dainty Tess, who is absolute superstar over 1,000 metres at Ascot. It is a cracking race.
This is a fantastic race. I cannot wait. This is the race that I'm looking forward to most come Saturday. All the action kicks off at 12:34 is the first race, so make sure you get to Ascot because it will be a day not to be missed, Derby Day, so wear your black and white. We hope to see you out there on Saturday, but if not, bye for now.
He makes her bid for a little piece of